When I was young, I started playing basketball with my childhood friends, and then I also was put in swimming because I'm from Minnesota, 10,000 lakes, gotta be safe. And then I started track about middle school because my mom did track in college, and I like to run, although I never wanted to do distance, so I didn't do cross country. We also did downhill and cross country skiing, which cross country skiing is really common in Minnesota, and downhill, even though we don't really have many hills. And then I also did figure skating and ballet. I think swimming, the team aspect, really, I just really loved that. But I also liked how individual the sports were, which I think was kind of why I narrowed down to both track and swimming. Like you have your relays and you have your team points when you score, but you like each race is really just on you. Like no one else can carry you through the water or through your race or through your jump. So I really liked that. And then I also liked how it wasn't really opinion based, like what team you were on. Like you either went the time and you beat your teammates and made the cut or you didn't, which kind of sucks sometimes, but also it makes it less personal with your coaches. Like they get to decide the order for your relays, but at the end of the day, you either have the cut or you don't, which I really liked. And for track, I really liked how technical it was, which I guess it's like that for swimming too, but I did sprinting and jumps. So I liked being able to think about like my footwork for my jumps and also my starts. Junior year, I impinged the fat pad on my knee. Sounds kind of gross. But so pretty much I just did PT for that, and it wasn't really getting better. So I was still swimming, not as much, using a pull buoy a lot and kicking. And then I went back in because I'd been doing PT for 6 months at that point, and we were like, well, nothing's really changed. Got an MRI, and they're like, oh, you just need this really small surgery, and it'll be fine. Like, PT couldn't have fixed it. I was like, okay, well, that's great, I guess. Like, I'm glad whatever's going to be fixed now. Had that surgery, yeah, had that surgery, swam a little bit, barely finished the end of the swim season. Like, I got to swim a varsity sections. And then senior year for track, had that surgery, was recovering, was cleared to run from that, but then I fractured my other knee with a stress fracture from high jump. And I don't ever really regret not being able to run track. Like, at some point in the future, like, swimming is just one of the sports you can do forever. And track and running just really isn't. Like, it's not super good for your joints. But I'm definitely happy with where I ended up with swimming. Toured all the schools. A lot of them are gorgeous campuses, and I really liked the people and the coaches. But knowing that I wasn't going to be able to run again definitely put a damper on the end of, like, my senior year, and just, like, in the future. But I knew that swimming was always a good option, and I've always liked swimming, but I've definitely gone through ups and downs with it, just because I feel like it's such a mental sport, and, like, the training and practices is just so physically hard. But so then I started re-looking at the schools I applied to. I was talking with my counselor, and I was like, well, I could swim at these 4 schools. I'm going to reach out to the coaches or reach back out to the ones who reached out to me and see what was going on. And then at Lewis and Clark, actually, I emailed the track coach, and I was like, hey, I can't run, but do you know who the swim coach is? Like, would you have their email or something? And so I met with who's now one of the assistant coaches, Coach Chris, and toured campus and met with him, and just the way he described, like, the team dynamic and all the, like, everything the seniors were doing and the way they had practices and how involved everyone else was still, like, on campus and with school. I just found that I really liked that. Being a member of the swimming team has definitely positively affected my life here at Lewis and Clark. Just having, like, I wouldn't say instant group of friends, but just having people you can talk to and people that you meet and start recognizing people around campus, like, that was really nice for me. And especially with swimming being a fall sport, like, I just remember fall semester last year, like, it was just so nice after practice to have someone to, like, go eat dinner with all the time. Like, that was just what we were doing, and we got to eat with the upperclassmen who lived on campus and ask them questions about, like, what classes we should be taking, like, what teachers, like, what clubs we should sign up for and all that kind of stuff. But now, like, some of my closest friends are still people in my year from swimming, and I guess it's only my second year, but that's definitely really helped. And I think just being on a sports team overall is really beneficial. Like, my roommate from last year and again this year, she's on the tennis team, and that's been a really nice, like, just having, like, our 2, like, sports teams, like, hang out together and stuff, and, like, going to each other's, like, matches and meets is really nice. Last year, all the seniors were so inspiring, like, with all the different plans they had after college and how they were managing, like, their athletics and stuff. Like, they all seemed like they had really hard majors and they all got really good jobs, or they just, and even if they didn't really know what they wanted to do, like, as of now, like, it's all worked out for them. And it's nice to just be able to have that resource to ask them, like, oh, like, did you apply for internships after your sophomore year? Like, should I take this teacher? Have you ever taken a, like, intro class in this? Just having that, like, team. And then also having, like, coaches on campus and just around, I think, is really nice, because it's definitely hard, like, being away from your parents, but having, like, not necessarily, like, an authority figure, but just kind of, like, that, like, guardian figure, I think is really helpful, especially, like, early in college.